like a dog in the street.
Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Judd, how are your labrums feeling this morning? I know it's been a minute. I don't know if you remember this, but when the Vikings win, and it's been a long time, we ordinarily celebrate with Ode to Joy and a flag waving.
Yep. All right, I'll do it. There we go.
There we go.
Yep. Not a lot of enthusiasm, but it's
there we go. No,
that's right, kids. You remember back in the old days when the Vikings used to win games on a more regular basis, and we would have fun.
I forgot.
That's an appropriate.
Monday feels like.
This is appropriate. Yeah, players off today. Players are off because it's a Victory Monday.
Amazing. Yeah, he did a pretty lengthy. They posted like a 4-minute or I don't know. It's like a.
It was four plus minutes.
It was a lengthy. It's like that's right. The post game locker room celebration things. And did you notice very subdued, low key JJ McCarthy game ball? Yes. He didn't fire up the troops. McCarthy avoided. I think they've probably had conversations about let's not go viral anymore with your face. I love the face. I think he should keep doing it. Go be you. But that video's up. So it's a Hottest Takes Monday here. We're going to give you our hottest takes. We're going to give you a pie chart of praise and some nitpicks because we like to keep it balanced here. Nothing to nitpick about Quick Trip, though. We'll start the show right there, Joe.
Nope. There is not. And you know what? If you want an idea for a stocking stuffer, right? Holiday season, stocking stuffer time, and that's always a pain because you're like, what am I going to buy for stocking stuffers? I got to get gifts, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the Quick Trip gift card is there for you, and it's absolutely perfect. Great for coffee, fuel, snacks, meals, and more. I mean, look at this right now if you're watching it, and you can see the amount of things, the great food, snacks that you can get at Quick Trip. Now, imagine the gift of Quick Trip. That's right, the gift of Quick Trip. Purchase the gift cards in store or online at quicktrip.com/shop. That's quicktrip.com/shop. Not only can you enjoy Quick Trip, but you can get friends and family also the gift of Quick Trip for the holiday season.
Yeah, it's the holiday season. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning also presents our hottest takes every Monday.
Go to standardheating.com right now. You can actually there's a couple coupons.
And bakery.com.
No, you know what? The people can find all the songs.
Standard Heating, powering your Christmas music as well. Go to for a $20 furnace tune-up. Go to standardheating.com. That does expire at the end of the week, but also right now, $50 off the Wi-Fi thermostat. A very clutch thing, especially if you're coming in and out of vacation or you're going to be on the road and stuff, coming out in and out of the holidays. They can make that happen for you. Don't got to DIY. I mean, that's electrical. That's HVAC stuff. Experts stay far, far away from DIY and that type of stuff. Go to standardheating.com to book your appointment today.
All right, dudes. So, Judd, you asked if I would lead off. I'll set the tone here, and then I'll give you the pie chart later, and then you guys can follow in behind me. So my hottest take after the Vikings kind of injected some feel-good back into their season, they really needed it, man. Like a lot of just heavy scrutiny and negativity, a lot of it warranted 100%. So you're probably going to disagree with the initial, when I hit you with this take, you're going to think that's, even for a hottest takes Monday, that, Phil, is a little to bridge too far. It's a shark being jumped. But I will lay out my case, okay? My hottest take is that the Vikings' second offensive drive of that game, the 19-play, 98-yard touchdown drive, has a chance to be one of the most important drives in franchise history.
That is hot.
And I will explain.
I was going to say, I'm not going to. No, you warned me, so I'm not going to jump you here. I'm going to allow you to lay out your case.
Yeah, because you're probably sitting there thinking, well, Phil, it was the Commanders. They're one of the worst defenses in the league, and they're in tank mode, and all of those things are true.
Yep.
I'm not saying it was the most impressive drive. I'm not saying it was the most high leverage, gotta have it, or you don't go to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it has a chance to be one of the most important drives in franchise history, because in the face of heavy scrutiny for both the coach and the quarterback and the front office, but more specifically, the guys who were operating in that game yesterday. That drive was a microcosm, a blueprint, if you will, for everything that this offense was supposed to be in 2025 and everything this offense can still be moving forward the rest of this season and beyond. And of course, the drive actually, if you want to expand the blueprint here, the drive actually started with the defense, which was supposed to be the backbone of this team in 2025, and it has become that more recently. Stopping the Commanders on 4th and goal from the 2, so taking away their possession and points, and then giving the ball back to the Vikings offense. And then the offense and the head coach proceeded to check all of the season-long boxes that are required for winning consistently with a quarterback still in development mode. 3 major boxes that were checked on that drive that aren't flukes. They are things that are repeatable, most of them by choice, quite frankly. And they have chosen to not do these things through the first 3 months of the season. Checkbox number 1. In order to protect an inexperienced quarterback who's not used to high-volume passing, it's like he's never been in a hot tub before. It's a little hot. You stick your foot in first, then then you get up to your waist, or your cold tub for the first time. And it's like they just threw him in, highest average depth of target. You have to chill on the YOLO sections of the playbook, meet the quarterback halfway, and run the football at a higher rate than Kevin O'Connell's traditional mix. And Kevin O'Connell traditionally runs the ball on less than 40% of offensive plays. He's one of the most pass-heavy play callers in the league. On Sunday, for the game, that rate for running the football was over 50%. And on this drive, Kevin O'Connell called run plays on 53% of plays. Run the ball more, get rewarded with a young quarterback that you're trying to protect. Check number 1. By the way, McCarthy's average depth of target in the game and on that drive were considerably less than the league-leading 10 yards per throw that he has amassed so far this season. So they pulled back on the A.2. Checkbox number 2. McCarthy needs to stand in, independent of play calling, and deliver in must-pass situations. This is the NFL, man. Like, you can't just hide forever. Even if I'm trying to insulate you here with my commentary and pushing Kevin O'Connell toward running the ball more often, at some point, it's 3rd and 7, it's 3rd and 9. They've got defenders making $20 million, and you got to throw the ball oftentimes when the defense knows you're throwing the ball. So here on that drive were the must-pass 3rd downs that he faced from the 2-yard line all the way through to the end zone. There was a 3rd and 6 early, like in the shadow of his own end zone, in which he almost got sacked for a safety, scrambles his way out, picks up a 1st down with his legs. Boom. Okay.
The CJ Ham block on that.
Yeah.
I mean, if CJ's not there, that's a safety for the Commanders. It's a hell of a block by CJ.
He stepped up, and he's there. He had a couple leaky ones the last 2 weeks, which were below CJ Ham pass protecting standards, and he made up for it. Then there was a 3rd and 9 a little bit later in the drive. All right, they know you're passing. It's 3rd and 9. Boom. Slings it beyond the sticks. Completion to Jalen Naylor. 1st down. Then there was a 3rd and 8. All right. Sorry, you're not handing the ball off on 3rd and 8. 3rd and 1, let's talk, as we will later in the drive. 3rd and 8, they know you're passing. Throw it beyond the sticks. 21-yard completion to Jordan Addison. And then the 3rd and 12 that was past midfield. And it was the short slant concept that fans have been screaming for all season. Justin Jefferson on a slant catches the ball 1 yard past the line of scrimmage, with the rest of the routes pulling the defenders past the sticks, and he picks up the rest of the 12 yards with his legs. So JJ McCarthy on that drive, microcosm of what can be. He was really good at this at Michigan. 4 for 4 on 3rd down. They know you're passing. One of them he picks up with his legs. The 3 longer ones he picks up with his arm. Okay, now we're checking boxes here. And then the 3rd one, Kevin O'Connell has to start playing the percentages more often with his short yardage play calling that we've been hammering him over the head for 2 months. Over his 4-year career, Kevin is the least successful short yardage play caller in the league on 3rd and 4th and short, mostly because he passes too often in those spots. Well, the Vikings were sitting 18 plays into this drive, 90 yards into this drive. It's a very nice drive. Ball is on the 8-yard line of Washington. It's 3rd and 1. Can you finish the drive? What are you going to do? 3rd and 1. Are you going to roll your quarterback out again and something crazy is going to happen? Nope. Don't get cute. Hand the ball to Jordan Mason. And not only did Jordan Mason pick up the 1 yard for the first down, he picked up all 8 for the touchdown. Mm-hmm. Vikings 14, Commanders nothing. Game pretty much over against a bad team. And so, again, to repeat, the boxes that you're checking on this drive that are microcosms for long-term success, potentially with JJ McCarthy, O'Connell meeting him halfway with balanced play calling. Check. Mm-hmm. McCarthy delivering in must-pass situations where you can't, there's nothing to disguise here, dude. You got to drop back and find someone. Check, 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 check. And the Vikings keeping it simple on 3rd and short, 4th and short by just giving the ball to Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. Pick up the yards. If they continue to hit these check boxes offensively, which they finally learned to put them all together in one game and one drive, specifically, they are in really good shape for the future. Positive Phil, out.
He's back.
I should deliver my hot take then.
Oh.
Because it's going to be the polar opposite.
Oh, boy.
Let's go.
My hot take is very, very simple. JJ McCarthy will hopefully start these last 5 games, including yesterday. And the decision has already been made that he will not be the starting quarterback next season. Kevin O'Connell cannot, and look, this is my hot take. This is not what I would do, but that game plan and what they did is Kevin O'Connell is going to be incapable of continuing. As much as we liked a lot of the things that they did, and in fact, the problem is when they play better teams and O'Connell wants to do more, he's not going to be capable of. I believe the decision has been made. I think part of the reason why O'Connell was just like, you know what, we're just going to do the basics as basic can do is because he is already in his mind, and we don't know who the GM's going to be. There's a lot of things that could change here, but I think that he has already decided that he is going to have a starting quarterback that can execute his game plan next season. And even yesterday in his post-game presser, he talked about, well, the statistics weren't great, but I mean, this was okay and that was okay. You can tell from his demeanor, in my opinion, that he has made the decision that he is going to do everything he can to move off of McCarthy for 2026 and have a quarterback that can execute what he wants to do. So I think that this is a decision that's been made. And it would take, I think, an act of God to change it because McCarthy doesn't fall into what O'Connell wants. And quite frankly, I'm convinced O'Connell thinks long-term he's never going to. This was a mistake then, but I think that that's correct. It was a mistake. Kevin O'Connell thought that he could get more from McCarthy. But in watching that game against a bad team, and it was fun, and I was glad to see McCarthy succeed, I also think that O'Connell had made up his mind. And hot take off of that, I think there's a very good chance, and this would be very interesting, long shot of long shots, I think there's a very good chance that O'Connell and potentially the new GM are going to make a run at trying to get Matthew Stafford away from the Rams at the age of like 39.
What?
Whoa, wait,
what?
Wait,
That's the lead.
Time out.
That's
what are you
the lead.
doing with this take?
Well, I'm
you
no.
the take.
Wow.
No, but I'm giving you. But I needed to give you the rationale for why I think the McCarthy thing doesn't mean a thing. I don't think the McCarthy thing means a lot to Kevin. I think Kevin is watching that and saying, you know what? We'll do this for now because it's been a disaster. And then the flip side to that is, okay, because you got to keep going through this question. What's their answer then? Like, it can't be, well, Marcus Mariota, okay, he can throw the ball. Like, we need to be talking in specifics. And quite frankly, I've come to the conclusion, I am willing to listen on Mac Jones, and it makes a ton of sense. But Mac Jones is almost too simple. Like, it's everyone who needs a quarterback or might want one is saying Mac Jones. Mac Jones. I think they're going to make a run. I don't know that they're going to get him. I think they're going to make a serious run at Matthew Stafford.
Wow, that is the hot take. That is the first take was like a warm take, and then it's almost like you went to a concert. You went to a concert.
Now the first take is hot because I'm saying the decision is made. I'm saying what he did didn't matter. That's That's pretty hot.
But your band just brought out a surprise guest at the end.
I'm
for
flame
the
throwing
encore
twice.
that
Yeah.
no one saw coming.
Yeah. No question about it. I brought in a legendary,
Bruce
Stevie
Springsteen came out at
Stevie
the
Wonder
end of
just came out to
And
tickle
here's
the
Michael
ivories.
Jackson.
You went to a Guster concert and Bruce Springsteen came walking out at the end. Or I don't know, like, okay, let's drill deeper on
The comments are outstanding right now.
It ranges from Judd is drunk and Judd is an idiot to Judd is a hero that we all need. Okay, let's explore this premise for a moment, if you will, because it hits on something that I feel very strongly about. If you are bailing on JJ McCarthy because you just want any old upgrade, I'll go back to my freeway analogy from yesterday, where you're in a traffic jam and you're trying to figure out, I'm in the left lane right now, but it's moving slower than I anticipate, which let's say is the drafting a young quarterback lane.
Mm-hmm.
The right lane is moving very quickly right now. So like in this moment, I'm going to get into the right lane because it's moving faster. But then if you let it play out over the course of 5 or 10 miles, the left lane almost assuredly is going to move faster than the right lane. And I would argue that giving it time with McCarthy, if the coach is willing to meet him halfway like he did yesterday, like let's go heavier personnel packages, let's run the ball more often, all those things, that over the long haul, it's going to be more fruitful to stay on the JJ McCarthy path than to just jump to any old immediate upgrade, which I believe Mac Jones would be like an immediate upgrade. But at the end of 10 miles, are you winning a Super Bowl with Mac Jones, knowing that if you trade for him, he's a free agent after 1 year anyways, and now it's like, all right, you pay him $40 million, and now you're just like stuck at 9 or 10 wins like the Vikings always are. But if you're going to tell me that there's a lane involving bona fide Hall of Fame caliber, Super Bowl credible quarterbacks, which aging Matthew Stafford would be in that bin, and McCarthy could back him up and learn. I still think this talk about Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert is all a pipe dream. Why would those guys are in their prime? Burrow's like 28.
Yeah, Burrow's.
So like, I don't see it, but like obviously if one of those guys comes available, you do have to consider, any team would have to consider giving up the 3 first-round picks or whatever it would cost, and then figure out, can you build a team around those guys? So when you said Stafford, my ears perked up because, like this version of Stafford, and if you're the Rams, maybe you win another I think if you win a Super Bowl, they're probably out on Stafford, or vice versa. Like he probably retires if they win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he could retire. Yeah, that's a possibility.
So I need to know what is the path for that breakup to happen. It almost happened though, because they had a weird sort of 2-month dance in the offseason where he wanted something. He was flirting with Tom Brady up in Trevor Plouffe's ski lodge. Actually, it was Stafford's ski lodge that Trevor Plouffe gets to go to.
I was going to say, if Trevor Plouffe has a ski lodge, we really flipped the script.
Yeah. But that's a wildly hot take there that you threw at us.
Well,
yes.
The thing on Stafford too is, so Sean McVay and the Rams are very, very smart. Stafford's having an MVP type season, but the reality is eventually you're going to have to get off of him. Matthew Stafford in Kevin O'Connell's world would qualify, and everything with this Vikings organization comes full circle eventually. Matthew Stafford would qualify as Kevin O'Connell's 2009 Brett Favre. And I was thinking about this because there's going to be changes here, and the salary cap problems, which of course would factor into this entire discussion. It's going to cause you to have to get rid of some players. Your roster was old. You don't have a ton of draft picks. So at first I was like, what's this team's opportunity to win 26? But then I thought, well, offensively, you're still going to have, I think, Justin Jefferson for sure, Addison back. The offensive line, Ryan Kelly probably retires, but the majority of that line is back. You've still got Jordan Mason. So, you have an offense that could support a Stafford type. And Stafford would then be, again, knock on wood, because it could go 2010, but Stafford would then be your 2009 Brett Favre. He would orchestrate, come in and conduct the orchestra for what could be a Super Bowl type offense. So that's why I landed on Stafford, a guy that O'Connell knows well. And look, it would be the equivalent of a football one-night stand. Everyone would know what they're getting. But the opportunity to throw to Justin Jefferson with that arm that Stafford has might be really appealing.
But how does it happen? Like, how does that? And I say that fully self-aware that this is a hottest take segment, and we love reckless speculation on this show. But we generally don't have guardrails on our reckless speculation. But if we do have guardrails, there has to be a path logically to, like on Flagrant Howls, the Giannis trade stuff we did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how would that ever happen? Well, let's talk logically. I'm not saying it's likely, but
Right.
the Timberwolves have a splashy president of basketball operations who's made a bunch of huge trades out of nowhere for big players on supermax contracts. And Giannis is on the record saying he loves Anthony Edwards and would like to play with him someday. Oh,
Right.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
Right.
And I guess the logical path to Stafford would be, well, Kevin was his offensive coordinator when he won a Super Bowl a few years ago, but he's playing at an MVP level on a team that has a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. If they win it, why would he go to the Vikings? Wouldn't he retire before going to the Vikings?
If they win it, yeah.
If they lose it, if they don't win the Super Bowl, what's the path to Stafford and Vikings taking this to the actual level of him wearing a purple jersey?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad you asked, because I thought of that. Now, if they win the Super Bowl, all bets are off, because he might just retire.
Peace out. Yeah.
Yeah, which, by the way, if he does, congratulations. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, if you guys recall, first of all, there were some hurt feelings last year as the Rams actively did try to spike eggnog. Oh, wow.
Ugh.
If you've got some, I'll take some. Now, I got the lactose problem, so I'm going to be honest. Can't drink a bunch of it. I liked eggnog back before the lactose issues kicked up.
Yeah, me too.
I liked it. But anyway, okay, so if you recall, going back a year ago, I believe it was the Giants and Rams were talking about a Stafford trade, and there were some hurt feelings at the time. Okay, but here's the other thing. Matthew Stafford, and I'm looking at a November 13th piece on quarterbacks, on the future of certain QBs for 2026. Bill Barnwell. Matthew Stafford's contract, 2026, $40 million cash, zero guaranteed. Guys like guarantees. Zero guarantees. Savings if he's traded before June 1st for the Rams, $6.4 million in cap, and then of course the if he was to play the whole season, $40 million in cash. So how it happens is the Rams say, you know what, we didn't win a Super Bowl, we came close, you had an MVP type season, but we're going to gamble on that's not going to happen from here on out. So we will look to trade him. We will trade him. Now, he's going to have a very small list. You're not going to trade him to some, godforsaken the Dolphins right now, I don't think. But to your point, he has a history with O'Connell, who I would not be surprised if at the end of the day, and I know this is going to rub some of you the wrong way, I would not be surprised if we see some significant changes after the season that give O'Connell more personnel power, not less.
Yeah.
I think he wanted more last year. I don't think he got it. I think he might get it if they change GMs. So McVay and the Rams front office and O'Connell work out a trade. Now be cautioned. If this were to happen, I think the Vikings are going to give up more than we probably think is wise for the age of Stafford. But I think
minimum first round pick.
And I think O'Connell would be rolling the dice that this man comes in for a year and has a chance to win him a Super Bowl, and in doing so also use Justin Jefferson in a way that we have not seen him use now throughout the course of this season, because Matthew Stafford can drive the ball down the field.
There is another pathway. I think if they win the Super Bowl, I think that's enough, right?
Sure.
Retire or whatever, peace out. But if you still have that, man, I just want that one more. If I get one more, then I'm legacy mode, whatever.
Yep.
But if they don't get it, Sean McVay has flirted with retirement before too. Could they get to a point where it's like, yeah, Stafford's kind of unsure. If McVay's unsure, and McVay could go make $25 million a year broadcasting or $30 million a year, take a few years off, and if McVay doesn't have the patience to stick around for what's next after Matthew Stafford, because that's a big question. Why would if Stafford's not the quarterback beyond 2025 for another year, who is for the Rams? And do you want to deal with that if you're Sean McVay? Probably not. So they probably both peace out together. I just love, though, that we are 25 minutes in here, 2 hot takes down. Mine was they found a blueprint in many ways for how to make this McCarthy thing rock going forward. And you're like, nope, Matthew Stafford.
Yep. No, I'm like, nope, going into that game. O'Connell's like, this will be cute. We'll let the kid, I'll call plays like he wants. But I think he's too stubborn to change.
Amazing. Okay. Declan's on the clock. In fact, before we get to Dex, let's shout a couple things out here. Dex has been up all night digging for statistics that support this upcoming hot take.
Both.
Sonny didn't sleep well?
Happened. Both of them. He just didn't want to go to bed till like 12:30 last night.
Party?
Started bedtime routine at like 9:20 like normal.
Victory
and he
Monday.
Said, hey, no, nah.
It's like his third ever Victory Monday, man. Like,
just housing bottles. He's going through a growth spurt, just like McCarthy going through a growth spurt yesterday, and now he's going
eggnog
through his own growth spurt. No eggnog, thank God.
Was he enjoying some spiked
Oh.
eggnog? You know what? He'd go to sleep, just a little sip. He'd go right to sleep.
Yeah,
just a little.
Stick it on the gums.
Backside, yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's what I've been told.
A week from Thursday is our next Purple Daily Unplugged event, and it's at Padrigs in Northeast Minneapolis from 6 to 8 p.m. Thursday, December 18th, and it's the Ugly Season Ugly Sweater Party edition of Purple Daily Unplugged. So come hang out with us. Wear your favorite ugly Vikings or Christmas or holiday or vintage sweater for your chance to win prizes at Padrigs, and hang out with us. Thor's going to be in the house as well from 6 to 8 p.m., and we'll fire up a podcast for the audience there. purpledaily.com/unplugged to find out more information about the sports dad's favorite place to drink a beer too, Judd.
I was going to say, wear your ugly sweater, come listen to us talk Vikings, and probably most importantly, again, burying the lead is this. Padrigs, you got to try the beer because the beer is absolutely great. And you're saying, okay, what's different about Padrigs from all of the other craft breweries? And I'm going to tell you right now, the difference is this. Padrigs is focused on one thing, not multiple things. Nope, one thing, and that's outstanding beer. The Red Chimney, the Patty's Premium, all of it is absolutely delicious. Again, located in the old Lando Nod Factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues Northeast. Also, their beer now available in more than 200 liquor stores in the Metro, Rochester, and Mankato. Padrigs, once you try it, you're going to be hooked.
Yeah, North American Banking Company. I think once you try North American Banking Company, you might be hooked as well.
Hooked on
that personal relationship experience you get, actual human beings that can help you with whatever you need banking-wise, cutting-edge online tools. And I personally have been working with North American Banking Company for a little while now, and I can vouch for the friendly, knowledgeable people that took the time to learn about me, my life, goals, whatever it may be. I had a couple of, like a year and a half ago, I had a terrible experience with a different bank, and I was like, okay, yeah, I just want like a person. Who's my person that I can talk to when something happens? And that's where North American Banking Company comes in. nabankcode.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankcode.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. All right, Dex, what's your hottest take?
Okay, so here's my hottest take. I think the Minnesota Vikings offense is actually on the precipice of something very special, but they need one more philosophy change. And that philosophy change is more 13 personnel.
Football.
And if Kevin O'Connell, who I know is super stubborn, thinks I can't change, buddy, you can change. Sean McVay has changed. Sean McVay with the Rams has almost exclusively ignored 13 personnel until this year. Yesterday, even from the Rams, this is a Rams stat, little Rams daily here too for you. They used 13 personnel in 40 of 67 snaps. That is the highest rate since, their 19 touchdowns and 13 personnel this season. That's high. That's 7 higher than any other team since 2016. So the Rams have adopted 13 personnel, which, by the way, 2 stud wide receivers still there. Puka Nacua. Devontae Adams is still phenomenal for them in the red zone, right? So they can do that. And it is a copycat league, and not every team is obviously built to exclusively run 13 personnel. But the Vikings are doing something here that sounds very familiar. They are choosing once again to not do something that is clearly effective and working. After yesterday's win, the Vikings ranked 8th in expected points added when running 13 personnel, despite ranking near the bottom half in usage rate in 13 personnel. They have the 4th best offense in expected points added when in the red zone running 13 personnel, while ranking 29th in the NFL in usage rate. It forces and allows, for heavy emphasis on the running game. It thrives in play action, things that McCarthy is likely very good at. And the 11 personnel that Kevin O'Connell just loves to jam down the throat, it ain't working, man. It's actually one of the least effective offenses in the entire league. So I think they should be gearing things up here. They should be running more 13 personnel this year, but also going into 2026, building this roster around using more of 13 personnel. It's a rate that they're using effectively this season, and I think they should lean into it more. The Josh Oliver touchdown yesterday, 13 personnel package. So more 13 personnel. I think they're on the precipice here of doing something special if they can unlock that piece of their game.
And some questions from the audience. Okay, that's great. What is 13 personnel? So here is your football lesson of the day here.
Football.
The numbers are running backs, tight ends, and then the third number is not listed. It's the receivers on the field. So there's 5 skill position players on the field. You think there's 11 guys on offense. There's 5 offensive linemen, 1 quarterback. That's 6. So there's 5 skill position players on the field, unless you sub in an extra offensive lineman, in which case you'd be
Football.
jumbo packaging. So the math is when you hear 11 personnel, which is what the Vikings run 70% of the time, that would be the 1 and the 1 are 1 running back, 1 tight end, and then the math left over from 5 is 3, meaning 3 wide receivers on the field. So Declan's talking about 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends, with 1 left over. The gap between 4 and 5 is 1 wide receiver on the field. Sample size is the question here. They after running 13 personnel 5 plays yesterday, they've now run it 15 times this season, but it is their most effective in a small sample size personnel grouping. So I'll add this context to what Dex is talking about. According to Sumer Sports, you know what? I'm going to save this context because I think it makes sense in the pie chart. I'm going to save that.
Oh.
Let's get to the pie chart, okay?
The Rock
A little
knows how you
tease
feel about
and a circle
pie.
back.
Yeah, because I think there's a guy who you all know in my pie chart who we will get to that deserves flowers and he deserves some praise on this. So if you guys are ready for the pie chart, we'll get to the context of the personnel
great.
groupings with it. Okay. All right, let's start with 5%. 5%
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
to Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer gets 5% because if he doesn't throw 4 interceptions, including that weird underhanded spastic thing that went back for a pick 6 the other way, McCarthy might have just remained on the bench, and we never get to see this thing percolate the way that it did yesterday. So Max Brosmer sabotaging a game to give JJ McCarthy a breather coming off a mild concussion. And quite frankly, considering everyone inside Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center apparently loves Brosmer more than McCarthy, awfully generous of Brosmer to throw that game last week to stand behind McCarthy again going into these final few weeks. So 5% to Max Brosmer.
Biggest mistake that Kwesi made probably in his entire time here was having Brosmer, getting him to the combine where every team got to see him, and then it was on. Like, it was incredible. I thought he might be a first-round pick. But
he slipped a couple rounds.
I also think there's a case to be made that O'Connell doesn't dumb down the game plan without Brosmer becoming the latest victim of his young quarterbacks can't do this right now.
Yeah.
Like if it had been McCarthy and he played okay, or just like, I think it took another player failing miserably for O'Connell to say, you know what, this is on me too, instead of you can't run what I do.
100%. By the way, just to address some of the comments here, that there's no concussions are mild. There's no such thing as a minor concussion. Okay, I'll rephrase. Some concussions land you in a dark room, unable to look at a screen, let alone practice football, for weeks at a time. Other concussions, you're still a limited participant in practice on Wednesday, the week of your concussion diagnosis.
Right.
There are, semantics aside, like, there are some concussions that are a lot worse than others, but I'm not minimizing brain injuries.
The protocol means they're concerned, like Blake Brandel, who got a concussion last week when he threw his head into a Seattle player in just a brutal move. But he was back practicing I think he was, if I am correct on this, limited on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So like he was in the protocol. I'm not ever sure he was officially diagnosed.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, listen, back in the day, I covered Justin Morneau with the Twins, as a Twins beat writer. That dude spent an off season basically sitting in dark rooms, and like his career got derailed.
Koski, the same exact thing, was terrible.
So 5% Max Brosmer for allowing JJ McCarthy to go back out there. Okay, 10% to the offensive line. It's only the second time all season they've been together to start a game. 22 runs of 4 yards or more for the Vikings in this game, just in the run game. Mostly running backs. There was a couple little McCarthy scrambles in there, but 22 separate runs of 4 yards or more. And the longest run was, I think, 18. So it was 34 rushing attempts, and it was paper cut, little gash. And in pass protection, JJ McCarthy mostly had time to operate. He was also quick to get rid of the football, which I'll touch on here shortly. So the offensive line, nice work, 10%. Mm-hmm. You get some pie. Mm-hmm. Okay, another 10% to all 3 Vikings tight ends in the aforementioned 13 personnel, or Sims? 12 or whatever. Ben Sims, who caught the first pass of the game, former Green Bay Packer. TJ Hawkinson and Josh Oliver combined for 5 catches, 45 yards, and all 3 touchdown receptions. Tight ends were JJ McCarthy's safety blanket at Michigan, and to deprive him of having multiple tight ends on the field has been malpractice. And yesterday, they snapped out of it, and all 3 tight ends delivered in some form.
We talked about this. This is why I thought, and I was wrong, but this is why I thought Hawkinson was going to have a big season.
Yeah.
Like, it was crystal clear. And by the way, O'Connell knows all of this. You know what? Again, it comes back to he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. Like, it's not like O'Connell's like, boy, it's weird. That guy that calls himself the sports dad, he knew about the tight ends and I didn't. He knew about it. He doesn't want to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So that is frustrating to Declan's point off the top of vent line. That is frustrating to watch, which is everything we thought is true. You just don't like doing what everyone thought would work.
Yeah, and more on that in a second here as we continue to plow through the old pie chart.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
15% to the elderly defensive tandem of Andrew Van Ginkel and Harrison Smith doing Andrew Van Ginkel and Harrison Smith things in that game. Mm-hmm. Baiting Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota into interceptions, the classic the vintage Van Ginkel interception that we've seen now a handful of times. He's probably done that like 5 or 6 times in games, 2 or 3 where he bobbled and couldn't quite pull off the interception. But the fact that teams continue to lose sight of him when they're trying to throw those little bubble screens or whatever, or those little flare passes, and the Vikings have been really bad just taking the football away this season. So to get those turnovers and set up some short fields, that's how you get to it. That's how the game gets out of hand and you put a stamp on things. And that's how you play from just a better game script, if you will, where you're ahead and staying ahead, and you can be more aggressive in those spots.
Have you seen the post-game locker room with our buddy Chip Scoggins and Harrison Smith talking?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Smith starts to cry, gets choked up. That was a really, really cool thing. Because Harrison Smith he has talked extensively after the last 2 years about potential retirement and gotten emotional. But for the most part, in an ordinary postgame, Harrison Smith is as by the book as it gets, keeps his answers short. The fact that he, after a regular season win, started to choke up, and that because Chip, I think his last question was, where's the emotion coming from? And he just said, you play football for a long time. It was really cool.
And he knows that this might be...
Oh, yeah.
his last month of football, right? It's
Very cool.
It's sad from that perspective that a guy like that doesn't even get to kind of flirt with the idea of playoffs. But okay, let's go 15% to Brian Flores, not just for the game plan yesterday that turned both Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota into total pumpkins, but on the season, they've had a couple bad defensive games, but for the most part, they have rallied defensively, and the Vikings are now, as of this morning, in terms of yards per play defense, the 6th best defense in the league, and then scoring defense, which was at one point kind of around 20th after a couple bad games, back up to the 12th best scoring defense in the NFL, with a fairly clear path to get into the top 10 if you hold your own against like the Giants toward the end of the season. We'll see. They got some good offensive teams coming up. And then I would also note on the pressure front, they have found a way to be top 3 in pressure rate again this season defensively. So they're stingy from a yardage standpoint. They're getting pressures. The takeaways just haven't been there like they have been in other Brian Flores seasons, but I am going to give him. And then him trying to play high-level chess with running out defensive players that aren't going to actually play a snap, and then them running back off the field to try and confuse the Commanders. I'd love to hear more about that if they'd be open to it, but he was definitely in his bag yesterday. So 15% to Beeflo.
Yeah, the defense has had its moments where it's not great, but I feel like the struggles of the offense have caused us to be a little bit more down on the defense than we probably should be. Like, I think overall, if you look at the body of work, how many games have they like lost? Like if you go back and look through the losses, how many ultimately now, as you go through the schedule, do you say, you know what, the defense, this is on them? It's not a large chunk. And in Seattle, they played just fine. They got dragged down. The offense was so bad against the Seahawks that it felt like the entire conversation throughout the week was the Vikings stink, the Vikings are terrible. Defense for a game in Seattle, actually, I thought played pretty well.
Yeah, I think you could put, I mean, like the Atlanta game where they just got completely gashed on the ground. Now the offense, it's defense and offense aren't played in vacuums like in baseball. It's kind of like, the pitcher does his thing and then the hitters come up, whatever.
Yep, that's fair though.
The score and the time of game dictate how you play offense and defense. But when Atlanta got that run game going right off the bat with like just 20-yard gashes on the ground, it's made it tough. But yeah, other than that, you could say, well, they gave up 37 points to the Chargers on that Thursday night game. That was bad. But also the offense was miserable. And if you're just constantly playing from behind, it's hard.
Yep. And a nice thing about the ability to run the ball on Sunday was look at the time of possession.
Yeah, 100%.
You didn't keep them out there constantly. That defense, they're too old to be out there all the time.
They're too old.
Too old.
Okay, continuing with the pie chart. Two more slices. 20% to Kevin O'Connell. And this is where I'll follow up on some of what Declan brought to the table here. I thought he adapted well yesterday. He met JJ McCarthy in the middle from just kind of, even before the game was out of hand and you were going to run the ball more. They made a concerted effort to run the ball at a much higher rate than Kevin O'Connell's career standard. And on the personnel front, the Vikings came into the game. According to Sumer Sports, 32 NFL teams have run a total of 334 personnel groupings. So this accounts for example, the Green Bay Packers are one team, and they've run 11 personnel on X amount of plays, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 21 personnel, et cetera, et cetera. 32 teams ranked a total of 334 personnel groupings. The Vikings running 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receiver sets, ranks 333rd out of 334 personnel options in the NFL in expected points added. The Vikings, according to Sumer Sports, when they run 11 personnel, which is 70% of snaps this year, are a minus 80 expected points added. The Packers, for example, and the Rams, when they run 11 personnel, they're both plus 80 expected points added on the season. So I get that that's what you do. That is your system. It's what won you a Super Bowl as a coordinator, a lot of 11 personnel in Los Angeles. It's what got you 13 wins, 14 wins, and some decent offenses. But objectively, the Vikings running 11 personnel this season has been a disaster, and they've done it on 70% of plays. So he finally either looked at that or for some other reason decided, yeah, we can't keep doing that. I know that's what I want to do, but we can't keep doing that. So yesterday, instead of running 3 wide receiver sets on 70% of plays, his season rate, he decreased it to 49%. So, okay, we'll do it on half the plays because it's still my playbook and my system. But we will opt for heavier personnel packages for over half the game. Extra tight end or 2, extra CJ Ham snap or whatever it may look like. And so they did that, and they had success. And by the way, in college, JJ McCarthy's Michigan team ran a ton of heavier personnel packages. They had, like, for instance, they had 2 tight ends play over 600 snaps in JJ McCarthy's last year, including Colston Loveland. A 3rd tight end who played 250 snaps. They just had, like, 2 tight ends on the field all the time. And McCarthy is comfortable doing that. So to finally kind of meet him where he is from a run-pass split perspective and from a personnel perspective, and lo and behold, he looks super comfortable. He's getting the ball out quicker because, there's tight ends all over the place. This is great.
Yeah.
So my question obviously is like, what took you?
Right.
What took you so long?
And that's
there,
the red
buddy?
flag. He didn't do it until he either got a talking to O'Connell or just said, screw it, I can't do. This is why this goes back to my hot take. Do I really believe that this is going to be him? No.
Why wouldn't it? Like, what? This is such a win for a. This is a win for a coach, man. Like,
but your question sets up the conundrum of the entire situation, which is it's week 14. It's week, and you would not do this until week 14. Like that, to me, you would have to show, for me to believe that you have really changed as a play caller. I need to see this so much more before I buy it. And I just don't know, unfortunately. Like, the stubbornness of remaining in 11 personnel, not to mention the fact that it's sort of a tone deaf move because the league changes. Like, the Rams are acknowledging a change. The 11 personnel craze, like, this is how it always is going to be. The 11 personnel craze caused defenses to say, okay, we are going to figure out how to stop that. We're going to make you change. And guess what? A lot of teams now are like, okay, we are going to change. But the Vikings didn't with a young QB. The stubbornness of this, to me, remains the story. Not the praise yet, because it's one game and it's so late in the season. And how many potential games did you cost yourself because you got a bunch of close games by being this stubborn?
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of it. I think if there is a disagreement here, it's that, okay, so for one Sunday, at the end of a season basically that's over mathematically, he saw the light, he made some changes, he met that quarterback in the middle where he's at, and they thrived against a bad defense. Let's see what it looks like against Green Bay's top 5 defense, and you might have to match point for point against Detroit and Dallas here. Even if your defense plays fairly well, it might require you score 30 points to win those games. Are they going to revert? Hey, we have to score 30 points today because we're playing Dallas. The only way we can do that is running 11 personnel, which would be objectively incorrect. That's where the next month is going to be interesting. It's less about like, can they run the table and miracle get back? It's about,
yes,
what does this look like, coach, quarterback, system?
Yes.
Or is it just, I came down to your level for 1 week, but ultimately, like,
thanks, Sonny.
This is my system, and if you can't run it, we'll find someone else who will. Which I hate, by the way. If you find that guy, whatever, like, you can probably win a Super Bowl, but good luck finding that guy unless Matthew Stafford does the Judd plan.
And I agree with what you are saying, but my issue is I haven't seen enough from O'Connell to believe he can do that or will.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Like, if it was up to me in Dallas, I would go in and run the football. I would keep that really, really bad defense of Dallas's on the field as much as possible. And then I would keep my defense off the field because their offense, to what you just said, is very explosive. Do I think, if I was to put a percentage, is Kevin O'Connell going to do that as much as it makes total sense? It might be 50%. I'm just not convinced.
Dallas is weird because Dallas actually has the number one by a mile defensive pressure rate of any team in the league. But that's the only positive. It could be a problem, but it's the only positive defensive metric. They are opposing quarterbacks have a 109.1 passer rating against them, despite the fact that they get pressure.
And
they must just have such a leaky back end that there's pressure. I'll just throw the ball somewhere and. 4 cornerbacks are going to fall down. I don't know, but
The Rock knows how you feel about
and
pie.
then the number one slice, 25% to. I'm going to give it to JJ McCarthy, the best full game of his young career. He managed and operated the offense the way that it should be. It helps when your defense is shutting down kind of a dead Commanders team. Big third down completions, which we talked about. The 19-play, 98-yard touchdown drive, 0 turnovers. And Kevin Seifert from ESPN had this nugget, too, that he got the ball out quicker yesterday than any of his previous games by far. 2.5 seconds from snap to throw. And he's been over 3 seconds in half of the previous 6 games. So just boom, ball out, ball out, ball out. And it wasn't all quick game. There was some quick game mixed in there. The pop pass, a couple little bubble screens. But it was still a lot of 8, 10, 20-yard stuff down the field, but it was him decisively getting the ball out and or progressing through his reads. And he deserves a ton of credit. That's the best he's looked complete over 3 hours, and so he gets 25%.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
If you're willing to call that game for him, I think you can succeed. I need to see more because to go back, Washington is awful, but I think you've got a chance. But here's the type of thing, let's take one play in particular from yesterday that actually worked out well, but I think drives O'Connell crazy. There was one play where McCarthy was, I believe, around midfield. He scrambled for 10, 15 yards or something like that. And I don't know if they showed this on TV, but Justin Jefferson came wide open. Wide open. And McCarthy, I think 2 weeks ago, would have implored to stay in there and get him the ball, or why weren't you in a position to get him the football? In this case, he got the first down, I think. Mm-hmm. Jefferson didn't get the ball, but it wasn't deemed to be in the moment, oh my God, we missed a play. But that's the type of play where I don't know that the head coach has the patience to see that not executed. But at this point, clearly in JJ's career, he's not there yet.
Well, and to that point, not to pretend like I or we are film experts or whatnot, but it feels to me like Kevin O'Connell has a vision for his system. He even talked about it a little bit last week, where when I watch some of these plays, I see what's possible at the top of the play, right?
Correct.
The deep in cut that's layered between the nickel corner and the safety, or the linebacker and the safety, whatever it is. And I see what's possible if we are operating my system at the peak of every play. And I get that, but to ask the quarterback to bat close to 1,000 on making that read, standing in there, mechanically sound, everything, and hitting, of all the plays, hitting the 100th percentile option of all the, it's almost like he was getting paralyzed, McCarthy, by, I've got to wait and hunt for the number one option on this play to open up. And in that process, either taking a sack or waiting too long, and now there's pressure, and dude, get a completion. I'm okay excusing you missed that 25-yard chunk over the top there, but instead of taking a sack, you hit the second outlet for an 8-yard gain. Move the ball forward, and then eventually we can criticize. Okay, actually, dude, we need someone. As we get closer to, do you pay this guy $40 million? Are you more regularly hitting the top capability of this system? So for them to kind of take away some of the, just go out there and play football.
Right.
And maybe to your point, they did that because they've already moved on. But what would be funny is if they made that decision, and by taking away some of the pressure, he steps into himself as an NFL quarterback. Okay. Whatever it takes to get there. Yeah. So there's your pie chart. 25% JJ McCarthy. 20% KOC. 15% B-Flow. 15% Van Ginkel and Harrison Smith. 10% to all 3 tight ends who contributed. 10% to the offensive line, 5%. to Max Brosmer for allowing JJ McCarthy to come back in and be the starting quarterback.
I'm sure Max is thrilled.
I would hope that he's honored to be part of this Monday.
Just get a little
Hottest
slice
Takes
of pie
podcast
from Max.
yeah.
A little Cool Whip on it?
Or maybe you could get him the gift of an Aura frame, huh, Judd?
Oh, let me tell you right now, that is a great idea. In fact, guys, if you are looking for something for the wife or girlfriend, a Christmas or holiday gift, Aura Frames, as Phil just said, they are the perfect gift. And here is the great thing. You can preload photos before it ships. You can share photos and videos straight from your phone. So easy that even the sports dad got his hands on his Aura frame and did exactly that by himself. By the way, no help from Dawn. Congratulations to me. Save on the perfect gift by going to auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames using the promo code PD at checkout. That's Aura Frames. It's spelled A-U-R-A frames.com, promo code PD. This deal exclusive to our audience, and frames do sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays and support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, nitpicks coming up here. Not much to nitpick about Federated Insurance, which has been one of the most highly respected insurance companies in America for over 100 years, and workplaces, by the way. Excellent place to work. Don't take my word for it. Take Forbes, who named recently for 2025 Federated one of the best in-state employers. Also, Newsweek, looking ahead to 2026, named Federated one of America's most admired workplaces. You can find out more about Federated's culture, which exhibits integrity, teamwork, respect, and equity, by going to federatedinsurance.com/careers. They hire a lot of former college athletes. So if you're looking to pivot or start your career, federatedinsurance.com/careers. And then a shout out to Menards, partnered up with Purple Daily this football season. Menards, your one-stop shop for everything for your car, and that includes Splash windshield washer fluid. It is grimy. It's snowing again this morning in the Twin Cities. The roads are gross, and your windshield is likely dirty. So you don't want to, even if you're road tripping too, it can be dangerous if you don't have Splash windshield washer fluid, which is ready to rock up to minus 20 degrees, formulated with special additives to help you see safely wherever you choose to drive. So head to Menards and stock up on Splash windshield washer fluid, because performance matters on the road and beyond. All right, Dex, hit us with a nitpick.
Yeah, let's maybe dig down a little bit more again. We talked about it on the vent line yesterday, but Jordan Addison, just dropping balls, 7.1% drop percentage this season. It just, there's something seems off. Like just something is, he is not as deadly as he was, in the first 2 years. He was a touchdown machine his first 2 seasons with the Vikings. And now some of this is on McCarthy, certainly, but when he's targeted this year, even passer rating of just 67 when targeted. So I don't know. I know he's having a tougher year, and he's had off-the-field issues. I would still, though, I'd prioritize selling as high as you can on him this offseason, especially, too, if you want to lean into more 13 personnel. Not that you can't. I mean, like I said, the Rams have 2 really good wide receivers. You can have multiple wide receivers. But I think I would lean on selling high on Jordan Addison, as high as you can right now. I know, again, he's not having the years he's had the last 2 years, but Jordan Addison, it's been frustrating. It's been really frustrating watching him this season.
Dude, that play where McCarthy was kind of rolling out, he was like backpedaling and rolling out to his left, and he throws a little bit off platform, just a dot right to Jordan Addison. And Addison, he's got to kind of lay out for it a little bit, but it wasn't like full extension. The ball was right there on his chest. Boom, rattles around. I think he has already, with that drop yesterday, I think he has matched his career total heading into the season in drops.
He did.
So between the suspension, one of the 4 highest drop rates in the NFL, dude's been a zombie, man. Like, he has just he's on a milk carton this season.
It's rough. And I think now you at least have a discussion internally about, all right, do we try to trade him? His value is actually going to be down now, but it makes some sense. And then conversely, if you do decide to sever ties with Jordan Addison, do you try to keep Jalen Naylor, who's going to be a free agent and has had a very effective and nice season?
Yeah.
That's got to be a question now, right?
But don't you think, as frustrated as everyone is with Jordan Addison and the just off the field and on the field stuff now, trading him would only compound the bad stuff. Because if there's no way you're going to get 100% peak value for Jordan Addison right now.
That's the
in
problem.
fact, somebody would be very wise to buy low on him.
Yep.
Oh, the Vikings are giving that dude away for like a 3rd round pick. Hell yeah.
Right.
Sign me up. I almost feel like he's put you in a spot, or even if he kind of wants out because he wants to be a number one and he's sick of the offense not operating at a high level in the passing game, you have to tell him, dude, sorry, but like until you stop dropping passes, we can't trade. We're not going to trade you for a 3rd round pick. Right. So if you snap out of it, it's your quickest path out of here if you don't want to stick around.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my question with him is, what's he like behind the scenes too? Because we talked about this a week and a half ago or so. I think he's a lot likely to go sour than Jefferson is. I think Jefferson's frustrated, no question about it. But I mean, Justin Jefferson post game, I don't know if you guys saw this, was asked about not catching passes or getting the ball as much, and he said, "I'd rather win and not catch passes than lose and not catch passes."
Yeah.
Like, he's just got that demeanor. But Jordan, I could see turning sour about this.
Yeah. He would be probably a little more quiet and passive aggressive than some of the, like AJ Brown will just flat out say it and bitch to reporters. Jordan will put cryptic things on his Instagram stories, or his dad will come out or whatever.
If he takes all of his Vikings stuff off his Instagram, it's over.
Yeah. That's usually how the youth of America tends to break up these days, right? So, Judd, give us a nitpick off of yesterday's win.
It's actually the play, the 36-yard pass in the end zone that McCarthy threw that was not perfect, but it was okay, to Justin Jefferson that didn't get caught. Like, that was, Justin doesn't have, unfortunately, a lot of chances for explosive plays. But in McCarthy's defense, that was one. He threw that ball up. It could have been caught. And in fact, I would argue that Jefferson has made catches far tougher than that. And he didn't get his bearings. He was covered, didn't come down with the football. But it's just been a weird year. And I am not buying into anyone who says Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's dropping off. I don't think he is, okay? I think he's going to come back if he's playing with the right system and quarterback next season. I think he's going to have a monster year. I don't think this guy, he's, 26, 27. But it's just been a weird year, and a play like that, I really think if you had looked at that, if that gets caught, the way that we feel about his game is entirely different. Because it's a touchdown pass, it's a significant touchdown pass. It would have been a hell of a catch. So my nitpick is, yes, there are definitely times where he is not getting the football thrown to him where he should, but there also have been a few occasions, and it's been in, I want to say, that corner of the end zone at least a couple times, where there are balls he ordinarily catches that he has not, and that is my nitpick.
Yeah, it's definitely Jefferson. Like, it's Jefferson's worst season of his career, even though the real number one reason why he's not going to put up the numbers that you're used to are not his fault. But like baked within that, the drops, just like the kind of the vacant moments, definitely not used to that. I'll give you one that's a little bit more just kind of big picture here. My biggest nitpick is, after the Vikings have been so good in one-score games, which some of that can be football luck, but also I feel like for the early part of Kevin O'Connell's tenure here, they just operated really buttoned up in close games, and they would deliver the drive that was needed. They would get the defensive stop that was needed, whatever, more often than not. Well, they are 3-4 in one-score games. Yesterday was not a one-score game, 31-0, but if you were to just flip one of these, because there was that one year where they were like 10-1 or something in one-score games.
22.
Yeah,
with Kirk.
And last year they were, I think, the same. It was pretty solid in one-score games. But if you go from 3-4 to even 4-3 in one-score games, so pick whichever one you want. The Baltimore game, the Bears loss at home, the Eagles game, whatever. Like, just pick one and flip it. Maybe because you ran the ball more early in the game. Maybe because you didn't ask JJ McCarthy to throw the ball 49 times, drop back 49 times against Baltimore. But if you flip one, I'm not saying you're in the playoffs, but you're now 6-7, going into a Sunday night game at Dallas, where not only is the country watching, but boy, beat Dallas. Now you're back to 7-7, and you've got a game against New York, who's operating for the number 1 overall pick, and that gets you to now you start. If you flip one of those 1-score games, this entire last month feels like a playoff chase. But that's how razor thin it is in the NFL. And by the way, if you are wondering, well, what if they do beat Dallas on Sunday? Because there are 7 teams with at least 9 wins already, the Vikings, if they win out, could get to 9-8, which is highly unlikely, obviously. But because the Bears are already at 9 wins, the Niners in 3rd place in their division are at 9 wins, and you can't get to 10. You'd have to win out, and then one of those other teams would have to lose out, and then tiebreakers come into play. So it's but if you flip one of those 1-score games, it's a different story.
What if McCarthy plays, he continues to play well in this current system, and you just lose a series again of 1-score games, but it's just like, oh, okay, he played well. I think that is your best case. Because you don't want to get blown out. You don't want to get blown out. Like, that's just embarrassing.
You finish 5-12. But there's
progress.
Yeah. I think your instinct is correct on, like, right now, because Kevin O'Connell is the one that ultimately will make the quarterback decision. Just like he does all the time.
Yep.
I think right now he wants McCarthy on the team, but he's going to go big game hunting for a starting upgrade.
It's just that is so Wilfs, first of all, and O'Connell. Because that statistic or percentage of 11 personnel screams he ain't changing.
Yeah.
Like, it is, he's given those reports every single week, right? And
I
he's
don't know.
literally.
I legitimately have no idea.
And, well, I'm sure that Sumer Sports is accessible, and the Vikings probably can dig down far deeper, and he's still saying, I don't care. Or he did until yesterday.
I think he's, like, bizarrely old school in some ways. You think of him as like a little more new agey because he's young. He's a player's coach in some ways, and
don't forget
to air the ball out.
Don't forget too, and I mean it is amazing because they're polar opposite humans. But Brad Childress and O'Connell, right? Brad Childress ran the classic West Coast system, and 2006, Brad's first year, Seifert asked Brad the famous question. Do you still have faith that this offensive system works? And Brad shoots back with, it's a kick-ass offense. And then he got Favre. Yeah. And you know what? It was run to perfection. And you got to the NFC Championship game. It feels very much like what O'Connell runs. Like, Brad didn't really, he wasn't on the precipice of, this is where the West Coast is going. Like, it's gone in 18 different directions since then. But it doesn't feel like O'Connell's interested in changing with the current trends. He is going to stick to the trend, and he's going to get a quarterback that can run that damn trend, and everyone else can bleep off.
Do you think...
That's how it feels.
Do you think the Vikings have a better chance of getting to a Super Bowl if they continue the long game with McCarthy and build a little bit less of, this is my system, a little bit more, hey, we'll give you the extra tight end out there. We'll run a little 12-13, give you the extra fullback, heavier personnel packages, run the ball more, insulate you, keep playing top 6 defense like they've been yardage-wise, and stick to that for like 2 or 3 more years and see how it evolves? Or aborting and then going and finding a quarterback that's immediately better than JJ McCarthy in the short term the next 2 years to run Kevin's system as he envisions it?
I think
what is their better path to winning or getting to a Super Bowl?
In my opinion, it's the first one, not based on McCarthy, but based on, I think that's where the game is going right now. I think you are not going to win a Super Bowl if you do not rely at least a good portion of the time on the run. You're not. Mm-hmm. Now, you might win 11 or 12 games in the regular season. We've seen that. But you are not going to win in the playoffs with how the game changes then by running the current system. If there was a time where it worked, it's now gone because the defenses adjusted, adapted, and took it away.
Yeah. Well, plenty more on this conversation the rest of the week and the rest of the season here. Purple Daily, if you're new and you're hanging out with us, click that subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, the like button on this particular episode, 2-hour vent line session yesterday. If you want to hear our immediate reaction and fans from, quite frankly, all over the world were jumping into vent line yesterday. Thor Talks Purple will drop second week of his new show here on the Score North Network, Score North YouTube channel. You can also find it on the Thor Talks Purple Apple and Spotify platforms or RSS feeds. And then we are debuting today. We're taking what used to be our NFL Takes edition of Purple Daily, and we're moving that over to a new podcast and YouTube channel starting today called Football Takes, Score North Football Takes, which you can find youtube.com/@Score North Football Takes, SKOR, the spelling of that. And some people have asked, like, why are you guys launching another YouTube channel? Why would you? This is going to be a playground for Thor to not only for all of us together to talk football and sling takes, but for Thor to have a blank canvas for his draft work that he does, some various betting and gambling related content too. So consider it kind of an all-encompassing football content sandbox for all of us at Score North Football Takes. And we should have the Apple and Spotify feeds ready on that later on today, too. So thanks for hanging out with us. For the Sports Dad, for Dex, I'm Phil. And we do just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See ya.